Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm actually going to do a slightly different video for today. As you may know, the Playbreak Valentine update is very soon, and I would like to share my ideas of what might come. I will also share my thoughts on improving Playbreak in any future updates. But before we get into that, can you please just subscribe, as only 5.4% of you guys are currently subscribed. It only costs 3 seconds, so can you please just press that button? Thank you, and enjoy. Now, if you don't remember, or you weren't in the Playbreak Discord, this all started when this got posted. Normally this wouldn't mean much, but it was posted in Leaks and Teasers channel. The community quickly realized that these emojis must be related to Valentine's Day, so it was decided that we were going to get an update. People went crazy with the fan-made designs for cosmetics. Go and send your support to them for creating such magnificent pieces of art. One of these skin concepts was this. Looks pretty cool, but the main one we want to look at is Boxy. A few days later, this was posted on the Playbreak news channel. Looks pretty cool, though you can see Huggy in this image. The same Huggy we saw in this art. This could be a coincidence, as all it really is a pink version of Huggy. But what really sold me was this. At the bottom of the picture, this was seen. Although you can't see all of it, you can see that it's some kind of bear, just like the Boxy we saw earlier. I actually didn't come to this conclusion first. This guy beat me to it. Later, a developer replied with this. I at first thought he was suggesting that the theory was true, but then he posted this. It was a gif of a character from Poppy Playtime. I sat there and thought about it for a minute before realizing that this character was associated with hugs and love. It made sense. They wouldn't want to create an entire new Boxy model. They would rather use this small guy instead. But I looked back at the Boxy and realized that this wasn't any bear head. It was the same one as we saw in the gif. And then I realized that this one has a bow tie and this one doesn't. So I don't know what to think anymore, but I don't think that this guy is the Boxy concept, as there was simply not enough time to create 2 skins based off the concepts. Yeah, that's right, I said 2. Even though Boxy seems to be out of the picture, don't forget about Huggy. You see, this Huggy post was created on the 3rd of February, and this was posted on the 5th of February, which gives just enough time for a model to be created if they work really hard. Additionally, a developer asked this question, which translates to, what is this Huggy's full name? This clearly shows that they might be considering the idea of adding this to the game, since they will need a name to call it Playbreak. But 2, maybe 3 if we're being a little bit optimistic, it just isn't enough days to create a full model with its rigging, texturing and colouring. But if you look at the image, you can see that it doesn't look coloured. Now this may be because of the filter they put over it, but they probably put the filter over it to hide the fact that it wasn't coloured. You can see that this hand is coloured, but Huggy isn't. Speaking of this hand, I had to go through a wild adventure looking for the Poppy Playtime wiki and also the Project Playtime wiki. But then I checked back to the fan-made content and found this. In the comments, it turns out that this hand was not an official hand, but it was on Sketchfab the entire time. I would have liked to know that an hour ago. I don't know what happened, but the developer said that they weren't going to add it because it was a Sketchfab template. Which makes sense, but then it got added to the teaser? I don't know, maybe they remade the model since they specifically mentioned that it was a template. Look, all I'm trying to say is that we are definitely gonna get this Huggy, and we are definitely gonna get this hand. What this bear thing might be, I'm not too sure about. If you have any ideas, make sure you put it in the comments, because I'd actually love to read it and see what you think it is. If I had to guess, I would probably say the Smiling Critter backpack maybe, because why they try and trick us the gift, that'll just not be like good. Now, I'm not sure if there's any other things that they're not showing us. Obviously, we're probably going to get a revamp of the lobby and maybe even like a few like decorations sprinkled around the theatre and the lab. I don't think it's going to be like Christmas with like an entire new map, but I do think they're going to add like just like a little bit of decoration. I also want to see a specialist skin because we only have the grab hand, and that would be slightly disappointing if there was only the grab hand and not like an entire skin. If they wanted to, they could probably use this Project Playtime skin. Now, I don't have much to say on the Valentine aspect of this video, but I do have some things to say about just some little problems that are very easy to solve, and I'm actually going to give my fix and the way I would do it. Firstly, we have to discuss when the monster is teaming up with specialists. I have seen countless times in my play sessions that at least 1 or every 2 matches, someone is teaming. So it's either the monster teaming with a specific specialist, making it hard for other people to survive, or the monster's just not killing anyone, which is not good either. The way I would try to mitigate this is when the monster is standing next to people and they're not doing any damage to anyone, I would perhaps make it less likely for them to be monster next time, because then it will be less of like scummy behavior and teaming. You could also make it so there's like a hidden timer, and if the monster doesn't do anything within this timer, then they could get banned, or if you don't want to go too far, then you could just make it so they're less likely to be monster next time to limit this behavior of teaming. Obviously, you'd give them a warning just in case they don't actually know what they're doing. Not likely they do. They probably know what they're doing, but like, give them a warning like, oh, you have to do this within 1 minute or you will end the match prematurely. If you still think it's going to affect noobs, what you can do is just make it so if you're above level 5 then this happens, not if you're below, because if you're below then it might actually just inhibit your gameplay experience. So this one's a little bit of a large problem. It's the fact that the monster is actually weaker than a single specialist. They really need to fix the balancing on that, because the monster should always be more powerful than a specialist, since the specialist has more lives. I'm actually not going to talk about this for long, because as I said, this is for like short problems. This is actually like a huge problem. If I make a full video of the problems of Playbreak, I will definitely speak about this more in detail, but at the moment there just needs to be something to mitigate this. Another problem is when the people join a game but they don't actually do anything, they just hide. I don't know if this is a problem for me personally, but when I join a game, people like level 10 or whatever, they just hide all game, thinking that I'll get them tickets. The last problem that I'd like to bring your attention to is the problem with Boxy and the vents. Boxy's like hitbox or whatever just makes it physically impossible to attack people in the vents. And to make it worse, the hitbox on the claw grab ability is too wide to pull them out. So if they get to a vent, then the round's just basically over. That is the last thing I'd like to say. If you guys have anything you want to say, then please write down in the comments and I'll make sure to respond. The Valentine update is coming soon and I will talk about it when it releases. I will make a video on what needs to be fixed or changed in Playbreak after this update does release. Hope you enjoyed my video. If so, then subscribe. Thanks, and I'll leave this video playing like usual. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.